In this session, we are going to learn about tuples in Python. A tuple is very similar to a list. It can store multiple items and it keeps them in order. But the key difference is that tuples are immutable. That means once you create a tuple, you cannot change it. So now let's talk about creating tuples. We create tuples by using parentheses. For example, numbers 10, 20, 30, 40, and another tuple, fruits, apple, plum, and cherry. Now let's print them. Print numbers and print fruits. Let me run this. So you see that a tuple looks almost like a list, but with parentheses instead of square brackets. One thing that often confuses beginners: if you want a tuple with only one item, you must put a comma after it. For example, this is a one item, single item tuple, and you need a comma after it. If you forget the comma, Python just treats it as a string. Let's check. For example, print type apple. This should result in tuple. If I do without comma, this should result in string. So let me run this. So the first item, the class of the first item it's a tuple. The second line, it results in a string. So just like lists, tuples are ordered. You can access items by index. For example, let's talk about accessing tuples or tuple items. Let me create a tuple apple, plum, and cherry. I can access any item in this tuple by using its position. For example, fruits index 0. This should result in apple. And this one should result in the last item, cherry. So this works exactly like lists. The difference shows up when we try to modify them. So here's the key property of tuples. They cannot be changed. For example, this means that they are immutable. Immutability. If I try to replace the item in index 1, when I run this, Python will give me an error, and this says tuple object does not support item assignment. This is what we mean by immutability. Once a tuple is created, its contents stay the same. It cannot be changed. But what if we do need to change something? We can convert the tuple into a list, make changes, and then convert it back. So let me say that I have a tuple like this one, and the last one is cherry. So we learned that we cannot change the items in this tuple. But what I can do, I can convert it to a list, make the changes, and convert it back to a tuple. So let's save this as a list first, then make any changes that I would like to have, then convert it back to a tuple, and now let's print this tuple. So let me run this. Now the tuple is apple, blueberry, and cherry. This shows that tuples themselves cannot be changed, but we can work around it by temporarily using a list. Tuples also support many useful operations, similar to lists. For example, let me create a tuple 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. I can get the length of this tuple so this will give me 5 because there are 5 items in this tuple. I can also get the minimum value this is gonna result in 10. The maximum value this is gonna result in 50. The sum of the numbers this should result in 10, 20, 30, 40. This should result in 150. I can also get the count of any value or any number in a tuple. For example, how many times that one item appears. Print numbers that count. For example, let me get the count of 20. This should give me, this is how many times 20 appears. I can also do get the position of an item. By using index, let me get the position of 30. That should give me position of 30. So now let me run this. So you see that 5, 10, 50, 150, how many times 20 appears using this count. Basically that results in 1, and the last command is for the position of 30, which is index 2. So let me go over it one more time. The first line, len numbers, tells us the tuple length. Mean and max give the smallest and largest values. Sum adds them all up. Count checks how many times a value occurs, and index finds the position of a specific item. Now let's talk about another important topic about tuples, which is packing and unpacking. So one very handy feature of tuples is packing and unpacking. Packing means putting multiple values into a tuple. For example, point 3, 4. We are putting multiple values into a tuple. Unpacking means pulling them out into separate variables, x and y point. Now x is 3 and y is 4. This is especially useful when functions return multiple values. So we can also unpack multiple values at once. For example, let me create a tuple like this. $25 and engineer, name, age, profession, now name is Emma, age is 25, and profession is engineer. This is much cleaner than writing 3 separate assignment statements. Just like lists, tuples can contain other tuples. For example, and that is nested tuples. Nested tuples. So this is the first item in this tuple, Emma. 25 is the second item in this tuple. And as the third item, I would like to do another tuple, like so basically this item in this tuple is also a tuple. So if I print index 0 in this tuple, it should give me and if I print let's say in index 2 index 1, so this is index 0, Emma is index 0, 25 is index 1, and this tuple is index 2. In this tuple, this item is index 0 and this item is index 1. So this should give me USA. So let me run this and you see that this is a tuple in this tuple. So now you may wonder why use tuples if lists are more flexible. The answer is tuples are safer when you want data that should not change. For example, coordinates on a map or months of the year. This should not be accidentally modified. Tuples give you that guarantee. So in summary, tuples are like lists but immutable. Use parentheses to create them. Remember the trailing comma for single item tuples. You can access items with indices, but you cannot modify them. Tuples support useful operations like len, min, max, sum, count, and index. You can pack and unpack tuples easily. They're perfect for storing fixed collections of data.